Hello and welcome to our channel. In this video, we'll be talking about an interesting topic, the use of drugs in ancient Rome. The lavish lifestyle and passion for the pleasure of the ancient Romans were well known, and that culture included the use of narcotics. So let's dive in and learn more about the world of drugs in ancient Rome. Drug usage was widespread in ancient Rome. They used a variety of drugs for therapeutic and recreational causes. Let's begin with the most often used drugs. Wine. Wine adoration was common among the ancient Romans. Their culture placed a high value on wine, which was extensively drunk at all social strata. The wine was a key component of their social and religious traditions and was utilized for both therapeutic and recreational purposes. One of the most significant exports from the Roman Empire was wine, which was produced on a vast scale. In several countries, including Italy, France, Spain, and North Africa, they cultivated vineyards. Roman winemakers were renowned for their skill in producing a variety of wines, and they employed several methods to improve the flavor and scent of their creations. Every supper in ancient Rome included wine. The wine was utilized as a digestive aid and was seen as a healthy beverage by the ancient Romans. They also employed wine as a remedy for a variety of illnesses since they thought it had therapeutic qualities. For instance, wine was used to alleviate sleeplessness, headaches, and digestive issues. The wine had a significant role in Roman social life. The Romans felt that moderate wine consumption was important for preserving health and fostering close bonds. At social gatherings, including weddings, banquets, and celebrations, wine was frequently consumed. The Romans thought that sharing a glass of wine improved social ties and fostered a sense of togetherness. The wine was utilized in religious ceremonies in ancient Rome, in addition to its social and medical functions. The worship of Bacchus, the god of wine, placed a high value on wine. Large quantities of wine were consumed at the Bacchanalia party, and attendees frequently became drunk. It was thought that drinking wine was a key factor in tying the festival's attendees to the god Bacchus, whose wild and chaotic temperament was well known. Cannabis. Cannabis was a different favored drug in classical Rome. Cannabis was used by the Romans as a medicine for sedation and pain treatment, but it was also used for leisure. In his Naturalis Historia, the first-century Roman author Pliny the Elder discussed cannabis use for leisure. He said that the Romans used to burn cannabis on fire to produce smoke that had euphoric effects. Cannabis was primarily used for therapeutic purposes in ancient Rome. Roman physicians utilized cannabis to treat a variety of illnesses, such as gastrointestinal problems, inflammation, and pain alleviation. They thought that cannabis could reduce inflammation and discomfort without having the negative side effects of other medications. The Romans thought cannabis had psychotropic qualities and might induce feelings of calm and well-being. In ancient Rome, cannabis was also employed in religious ceremonies. Romans used cannabis in their religious rituals because they thought it was a gift from the gods. One of the religious cults that utilized cannabis in its rituals was the cult of the goddess Venus. The cult employed cannabis in their celebrations of love and sexuality because they thought it was a symbol of reproduction. Opium. Ancient Rome also made extensive use of opium. It was employed as a sedative and painkiller. Opium was used by the ancient Romans to make pills or to blend with wine. It was very addictive, and some Romans developed opium addictions, which had a negative impact on their physical and mental health. Opium was mostly used for therapeutic purposes in ancient Rome. The opium poppy, which was cultivated in the Mediterranean area, was well known to the Romans, who utilized its extracts for drowsiness, pain relief, and the treatment of other illnesses. Opium was most frequently used in ancient Rome to treat pain. It was used to treat several ailments, such as migraines, toothaches, and digestive problems. In ancient Rome, opium was also employed as a sedative. Opium was thought by the Romans to help with sleep and anxiety. Insomnia and other sleep-related disorders were treated with it. Opium was not only used medically, but also recreationally in ancient Rome. The opium poppy was grown all over the Roman Empire, and opium dens were widespread in cities. Opium use for recreational purposes was seen to be a lower-class activity, and upper-class people disapproved of the behavior. Opium use for leisure in ancient Rome was not without debate. Seneca, a Roman philosopher, discussed the risks of opium addiction in his writings. Opium, in his opinion, was a harmful substance that may result in moral and physical degradation. After the fall of the Roman Empire, opium consumption in ancient Rome decreased. However, it was still in use during the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Opium's therapeutic benefits were once again found in the 18th and 19th centuries, and it was widely utilized as a painkiller during the Victorian era. In conclusion, opium's main use in ancient Rome was as a medicine. It was used to treat many medical diseases, as well as to ease pain and promote sleep. Opium was a controversial drug that was often linked with the lower classes. Opium's use diminished following the fall of the Roman Empire, but its therapeutic benefits were later rediscovered, and in the 18th and 19th centuries it was widely used as a painkiller. Mushrooms. Because of its hallucinogenic qualities, mushrooms were also used by the ancient Romans. The hallucinogenic qualities of the mushroom Amanita muscaria were well known in ancient Rome. The Romans employed the mushroom in their religious rituals because they thought it was a gift from the gods. Speaking of religious events, the ancient Romans practiced a number of drug-related rituals. Bacchanalia celebration. Bacchus, the god of wine, was honored during the Bacchanalia festival. Participants in this festival would consume wine flavored with various herbs and spices to induce ecstasy. The celebration was noted for its wild and chaotic nature, and the participants would also partake in different sexual practices. Romans celebrated the Bacchanalia festival in honor of Bacchus, the god of wine and agriculture. The event, which took place every year in Rome, was known for its exuberant partying. It is unknown where the Bacchanalia event came from, but Eleusis in Greece is thought to have brought it to Rome. The festival was initially a female-only private event that took place in secret. Participants would engage in excessive drinking, dancing, and other sorts of debauchery during the celebration. Participants in the festival were known for their sexual excesses, including orgies and other actions that were sexually graphic. Due to the festival's apparent subversiveness, the Roman Senate ultimately decided to prohibit it in 186 BCE. The Bacchanalia festival was seen by the Senate as a menace to Roman society because it was connected to covert organizations and political espionage. Despite becoming illegal, underground organizations continued to host their own Bacchanalia celebrations, allowing the event to continue to be observed in secret. Eventually, the festival was brought back under more strict control under the reign of Emperor Augustus. The violent and frenetic atmosphere of the Bacchanalia event served as the inspiration for numerous artistic renderings of it throughout history by painters, poets, and playwrights. The Roman Senate finally forbade the holiday because of its alleged subversiveness, but it was nevertheless observed covertly. The Bacchanalia festival is still a remarkable example of ancient Roman society and religion and has left a lasting impression on art and culture. Cybele. Another religious cult that indulged in drug use was the cult of Cybele. The members of the cult practiced self-flagellation and consumed a dark beverage produced from poppy plant seeds as part of a ceremony in which they honored the goddess Cybele. Ancient Phrygia, a former country in modern-day Turkey, was the site of the first worship of Cybele, a goddess from the pantheon of the ancient Romans. During the Second Punic War, her worship was introduced to Rome and swiftly rose to prominence as one of the most significant and influential religious movements in the metropolis. The idea of a mother goddess who was revered as the guardian of the natural world, fertility, and childbirth was at the heart of Cybele devotion. Castrated men who worked as her priests and took part in crazed religious ceremonies were known as the Galli, her followers. The usage of the Taurobolium, a rite in which a bull was slain, and its blood was poured over a participant who stood beneath a pierced platform, was one of the most famous parts of Cybele's devotion. The participant would be purified of sin and brought closer to the goddess, according to the practice. In 204 BCE, the Roman government recognized the religion of Cybele, and on the Palatine Hill in Rome, the Temple of Magna Mater, Cybele's temple, was constructed. Women, slaves, and other outcasts of Roman society were particularly devoted to her religion. Beyond the realm of religion, Cybele had an impact on various facets of Roman life. She was connected to crop development and was said to keep the city safe from danger. Cybele was frequently shown in art as a majestic and strong figure, since she was thought to be a symbol of the power of the Roman Empire. Up to the 4th century CE, when it was outlawed by the Christian Emperor Theodosius I, Cybele's cult was still widely practiced in Rome. Despite this, Cybele's worship has left a lasting impact, and evidence of this may be found in the literature, art, and culture of ancient Rome. You might now be asking how the Romans in antiquity acquired these medications. The simple fact that they were easily accessible is the solution. These medications were widely available and many of them were grown under the Roman Empire. In fact, opium was so widely accessible that it was readily available for purchase in the markets. In conclusion, narcotics were not unknown to the ancient Romans. Drug usage was prevalent in their culture, and they employed a variety of substances for therapeutic and recreational purposes. The most popular narcotics in ancient Rome included wine, cannabis, opium, and mushrooms. And although certain medicines were used for their therapeutic benefits, others were consumed purely for recreational purposes, which had a negative impact on both physical and mental health. The Romans also participated in a number of drug-related ceremonies that were a component of their religious activities. Hope you had fun seeing the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you for your time.